Very busy.
There we go. So we've got Ed
Oh.
Miles and Charles Norman. Ed Miles is apparently playing the Ed Miles deck.
Yeah, I believe that may be what they call a
What could be,
mistake.
yeah, a faux pas, if you will. We'll hopefully have that changed in a second. Are we going to get deck list this time?
Just get our camera views sorted out for a moment. I think the camera has been knocked in between rounds. You see in the background of that with Charles there, that was our table judge Paul Crosby. He is our table judge. And just shuffling up for game one.
So we've got currently we haven't got a deck list
So
or
Charles Norman on the left and
any
Ed
idea
Miles
as
on
to
the right.
deck lists or what decks they're running.
I can tell you now.
We will.
Right, we've just been told
We've just been told that this
Ed Miles is running a red burn deck.
the
We're
predictably
not
at
sure
2-0.
what Charles is pulling.
We don't know yet. We will have deck lists, but the
They are
reason
being
there's a
deck
slight
checked.
pause is that this table will get deck checked. It is a very good choice for the random deck check.
Which means that we
Unfortunately,
get
it
the
does
deck lists
delay us
afterwards.
slightly in our coverage.
So hopefully, barring any sort of
Shenanigans.
major shenanigans on the part of the deck.
I think the hardest
Right,
thing
process.
about getting deck checked is, having a mistake come up.
Yeah.
Let's just get some clarification about whether this table is getting deck checked or not. Right, there may well have been deck checked, and that's why we have a delay in getting the lists. We'll just get some clarification as soon as we can. That's a pretty early judge call.
Yeah.
A table nearby to the feature has already called a judge, and the match has barely started.
It's got to be something like a misdraw or something like that.
Oh.
So we now have,
we have
deck
lists.
lists.
Fantastic.
So we have Charles Norman. So we have Charles who is playing a. He looks to be playing Splinter Twin.
Yes, he's playing.
So we've got Splinter Twin
Twin.
combo for Charles Norman, and we've got Red Burn.
Prismatic burn for Ed Miles. It's not your average burn deck.
It's not, is it?
It's got Deathwitch Shaman in it.
got
Bump in
Goblin
the
Guide in it.
Night. Goblin. Wow.
That's an
It's a
interesting
good.
burn.
It's not a bad choice.
It's not the standard sort of thing.
I did say Boris Chan would show up in a burn deck, and
Why
obviously it's done him proud so far.
So out of the two, do you think the red deck can burn quick enough before the Splinter Twin?
The only issue I have with this, looking off his list, is that a lot of his burn is
Direct to player.
it's direct to player, not to creatures.
So he doesn't
could
have a lot
have
of removal against
the
Splinter.
For Splinter 20, like sideboarded, maybe slightly in his favour. He's got Rakdos Charm. He's got Back to Nature.
In fairness, we've got.
He's also got
Spellskite.
Torpor Orb on the board as well. That could be quite significant. I'm almost willing to say that Charles might get the first game, but then
Splinter Twin should always get the first game.
you've got to wonder,
Realistically,
like how quick is it going to be? Like
Splinter Twin is
we-
usually relatively
we
quick.
need to figure out who's on the play. I think it's Ed who's on the play. And they're both
No,
keeper. No, is
Charles
in
is
fact Charles
playing.
on the play. This is going to be pretty critical.
Into a Lavamancer. Is it?
That is indeed a
Yeah.
Lavamancer.
Grim Lavamancer.
Off a steam vents. Very quick start. Very quick. That's exactly the sort of start you want to see. Like, nothing wrong with Grim Lavamancer whatsoever.
No.
And we have an
Mount.
Aridnacer into a mountain. That is the fire
Fire
and lightning.
Fire and lightning
like,
mountain. Very nice.
Particularly pretty mountains. Not the
Gotta
prettiest
say,
mountain I've ever seen.
Not the pretty mountain.
I will still say that Unglued Lands are my favourite land picture ever.
Yeah. Unglu Mountains are still very pretty. You'll struggle to find better ones than those. And it's into a Goblin Guide for Ed Miles. So
Uh,
that's Goblin Guide coming through, doing 2 damage. And he's revealed a Spellskite. This is his next card.
That could be pretty big.
That's quite a useful one, because it's got that lovely, it's 4 toughness, isn't it, Spellskite?
It is 4 toughness. That
So
could
it
deal
gets
with
over
lightning
those
bolts.
lovely things like lightning bolts.
That will, help with lightning bolts, searing blaze as well. Pretty critical ones. Just debating on
come
whether
through
to
with the
attack. He is going to
Lavamancer.
attack with the Lavamancer, which is
Makes
also a fire and lightning Lavamancer as well.
Yes.
It's good representation for that set.
It was a nice,
It
was
is
a nice
particularly
set.
nice set.
So the Goblin Guy comes through again.
That's a
Feeling a
Snapcaster.
Snapcaster.
You've got to wonder, is he going to block? Is he going to block
At
the
this stage, I don't
Spellskite?
think so.
No,
And
he's
he doesn't
obviously,
need to at this point.
he's feeling maybe a Searing Blaze might be waiting,
Yeah.
which could be pretty bad. And it's a Blood Crypt untapped.
So something's coming down.
And that is a Vexing Devil.
Oof. Now, what do you do at this stage? Do you let that stay on the board?
Do you go to 10 against Burn? I doubt it. I mean,
Good point.
at the very least, you think... No, I'm afraid Moses is not here today.
Nope, he's taking it. He's taking the 4 damage.
And
bumping the
Knight.
Knight down to 7.
This could be over
Depending on
very
in
shortly.
fairness, bumping the Knight I think is the only one that Spellskite can't redirect to itself. So
Well, there's a lot of burn that can't be like something like Boris Charm, for example, cannot be redirected.
true,
It's
because
just damage to the player.
It's damage to the player, isn't it? So
Like Lava Spike, for example. He could conceivably he could go Searing Blaze, the Lavamancer. It has actually revealed the land this time.
Scalding Tarn.
So does he risk? He is going to block with the
he's going to block
Spellskite.
the Spellskite there.
So
That's fine.
Spellskite's taking 2.
And of course, if Ed chooses
And
to,
he has a Cliffer and Retreat.
if Ed chooses to take out the Spellskite here, it's 1 less burn spell
I'm
against
thinking we
Charles.
might see a Searing Blaze here. It is indeed
It is
a
a
full art
art
Searing
Searing
Blaze,
Blaze.
and has been charmed. That is major. Keep the Spellskite on the
We've got
board,
anything to go with.
and it's a
We've got,
suspended Rift Bolt.
that's nice.
But you gotta wonder, like that Spellskite still being on the board, that could suck
Yep.
up that. It could suck up that Rift Bolt, and then he could let the attack through.
So we're down to 6 now for Charles. That's 2 burn spells off.
I've got to feel bad for him. Like, this is the game he needs to win. He should
Yeah.
he should pretty much.
He's getting
an
close
auto
to the
win.
mana for it, but he's
Yeah.
having to use the mana upon
Yeah, I mean,
countering, so he
he
can't
having-
play.
he has to leave blue open pretty much now, because otherwise, if the Spellskite redirects, he's going to be taking damage for it.
Yes.
And that is a Thought Scour at the end of the turn. We're
Dropping
milling.
a Deceiver and a Snapcaster.
Yeah.
So, he needs some red mana at this stage. Oh no, he's got the red mana.
Yeah,
hasn't
he has a
He's got
steam vent. He has a
so he's
steam
got
vent,
steam
so he has one of them.
He only needs 1 for the Splinter Twin though, doesn't he? It's Kiki that
No,
requires
it's
the 2.
2 red for the Splinter Twin. It's 2 red and
Oh,
2.
it's 2-2, isn't it? Yes.
But he did get a Scalding Tarn.
Got the
Remember,
Scalding
we saw
Tarn.
it off the Goblin
Yes.
Guide. So that's not going to be an issue. The problem is, he
I think it's all going to come down to this turn. I mean, he's got...
could go for it at the end of the turn.
because in theory he can flash in a Pestamite or a Deceiver XR.
I like the fact that he's playing
So
Pestamites as well.
Yes, I think you have to realistically.
I like that card a lot. It's quite
So
good.
the guide comes in.
Yeah, he's thinking about it.
It's an Exarch off the
It's
top.
off the top, but that should be too late.
That will probably be too late at this stage.
So you've got to wonder whether...
I would potentially chump block with the Lavamancer here.
I like that. I like it. I don't... And I mean, you don't
I
have
mean,
to worry
it-
about
it's
things
just
like
as
Brimstone.
potentially-
You don't have to worry about Brimstone Valley.
Nope. Not in this format. So yeah, you
I mean, it's very clever that he didn't block with the Spellskate after it sucked the Rift Ball up.
of course.
He didn't waste it, and now he's not blocking.
He's taken out the Goblin
He
Guide.
has taken out
no
the Goblin
damage
Guide
from
with the
attack.
Lavamancer. That's a Rift Bolt. Goes to the head. Cannot be stopped.
Down to 3.
So
So
he doesn't have the charm because he wouldn't have tapped his white source. Oh, that's a Shard Volley. Oh, and he
And
redirects
the
the Spellskite, so he's
takes
lost
the
the
hit. Right.
Spellskite.
So Ed now has to...
He is top decking.
Ed is top decking into
He is
a
on
lightning bolt.
3 life. Charles is on 3 life against Burn.
But he's
Pretty much every Burn
in fairness
spell.
now, with regards to modern Burn, there's not going to be a whole lot that's going to be doing 2. So he can, in theory, take the Scalding Tarn hit.
Yeah. Well,
Because 3 and 2 is fairly non-consequential at this point.
yeah.
He needs the mana to be in play for him.
In fact, he does go to 2 to fetch an island.
So
So he must be...
he must have a red mana source in his hand.
He must have something, but he can't be a Steam Vents to play it untapped.
No.
So probably Sulphur Falls
Sulphur
or a
Falls.
mountain itself. I mean, he does does run a couple
I mean,
of mountains.
at this stage, Ed has to draw a top deck of Burn spell. And Charles is going to mill himself for 2 to draw a card. He's got the mana, well, he's got the mana if he plays another red spell.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a Grim Lavamancer, for those checking. We have,
Yes, we do apologise for that. We get a
Yeah.
lot of glare of foils, for
so
instance.
he's put the Steam Vents in tapped, which is not a massive problem for him, because this turn he can flash in a Deceiver Exarch or a Pestamite,
That's
like that.
so
So he's done that in the start of his
What
turn,
is
so he's got to draw he's got to draw a Lightning Bolt.
you've got to feel bad for him if that was,
So-
say, a Shaman, which he couldn't get down because he's had his black...
So-
That's a very intelligent tapping of
Yes.
mana there.
The Deceiver Exarch very cleverly used
And
there.
also
Now, he
stops
needs,
bumping the Knight
Yeah.
as well.
so
It's obviously not a Lightning Box, he would have just played
Serum
it.
Visions. So he's either searching for a Splinter Twin or
That would be sick if
Kiki.
he got a Splinter Twin straight off the top. That would be utterly absurd. I mean, Shaman is not going to help him because
No.
the Lavamancer will just get it straight out of there.
So
And he comes in for 1. He's not going
hasn't-
for it.
He hasn't got the combo yet.
So does he have another
He's
Exarch to
looking
keep him
for
tapped
it.
down?
I think that's possibly what he might
But he
do.
doesn't.
He doesn't have it. He might be running a counter there. He might have a counter in there.
I
He
could
does run a
see
Spell
Mana Leak
Pierce.
maybe.
He does run a
he's
Spell
got-
Pierce.
He's got 1
He
Spell
has a Spell
Pierce.
Pierce in the main deck. Oh, Ed
Oh,
passes.
He draws a land.
In fairness,
Sacred
Charles might have
Boundary.
Kiki Jiki in hand, which he needs the 5 mana open to play.
He does, but that's pretty
So that's
random.
missed the,
That's a ring.
Splinter
He's got
Twin
it, he has
hits.
it. There is Splinter Twin.
And he's got potential mana open. And he gets infinite creatures.
He's just explaining
Explaining the
the
whole idea of Splinter Twin.
Skull Crack. Spell.
Told you, the Spell Pierce off the top.
Oh, he was waiting. That was very clever. He was waiting with the Skull Crack for when he went for the combo, and he had the 1 Spell
Yep.
Pierce in his deck,
One
in his
Spell
hand.
Pierce in deck, in the hand.
Oh, you have to feel bad for Ed there. He
So close.
We
Took him to
didn't give
one.
him a chance of winning game 1 and he
No.
nearly pulled it
In
out.
fairness, yeah, we were expecting the Splinter Twin to win.
So critically, it comes down to now is
It comes down to the sideboard.
who sideboards better.
I think you've got a sideboard in Torpor Orbs. They're in there. They're in the. Red deck does what? Usually it wins. In this case,
Usually it wins, but
usually it wins. It's not always. But sideboard-wise, I think Ed's got to put in his Torpor Orbs.
yeah, a Bractus Charm maybe.
Rakdos Charm potentially.
Although Charles will probably see that coming and go for like something, say back to nature. That's the sweep enchantment instant speed for 2 mana. Maybe
Red Deck Smash Face. That's what they should call it from now on. Not RDW.
maybe a
Red
Searing
Deck Smash Face.
Blaze. We've got from
How is it mono red with more than one colour in it?
it isn't. It's not mono red. When it was translated over to our table judge, all he saw was burn. It is in fact called prismatic burn.
It's prismatic burn.
We'll get that changed now.
In terms of the sideboarding for Charles, putting the spell skites in, I think. He's got 2 spell skites in sideboard.
Yeah, that is extremely
Putting
good.
them in. And really, I think he's just going to be keeping the deck pretty much as it is. He's playing against he's playing against a deck that won't have a lot of answers to the Splinter Twin combo.
Skullcrack is an odd mega-game choice, but I like it again because Kitchen Sphinx is quite common. I have on occasion seen Sphinx's Revelation show up, and that's pretty. I mean, yeah, they get to draw the cards, but you know that it's more. I think it's very important for them. I think it's very, very important to, even if just wrong foot them. I know I'm going to gain this much life. I'm safe. No, you're not, and take another 2.
It's nice to have that.
Flames of
kind
the
of
Blood Hand did show up in main decks before. Obviously, Skullcrack is a little bit more mana efficient, but it's less damage. I could see a reason for it. Definitely.
Definitely.
I could definitely see why these 2 decks are currently 2-0.
Yes.
Like
they're both very solid.
No, but I mean that match was over really fast.
Not
Sorry, that game.
It sort of leveled that. It started off very quickly. It was like a firecracker sort of thing. Prismatic Burn just went off and really sort of started pouring the damage. I think he just ran out of steam at the end.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I can't understand from his deck is why he's not running Lightning Helix. If he's going to go to the trouble of having white in his deck,
you put Lightning Helix.
You put Lightning Helix in it. Maybe he just likes Searing Blaze. I think Lightning Helix over Searing Blaze.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just like if there's not a particular reason for you to get a creature in the bin, like if you Morbid deck maybe. If you cared about creatures dying,
some situations you can warrant putting the Searing Blaze in,
you hit
but
that right.
Instance,
it's Prismatic Burn without Lightning Helix.
You need
the
Lightning Helix.
It has Boros Charm, but no Lightning Helix.
I'd run both.
He does not have the one of Thunderous Wrath. Oh, I would love him forever if he did just get the sweet rubbins of just going 5-year.
Yes, Miracle 5.
I can't imagine it'd be good as in starting hand.
No, it's a dead card in hand, realistically, isn't it?
And he has no way of discarding his own cards, and why would he indeed? Vexing Devil's a good choice. I'd quite like to see somebody playing Vexing Devil with Orzhov Charm, just to get like he could easily be playing it with his colours.
Yeah.
Like, just. But yeah. God,
finish sideboarding
Thunderous
now.
Wrath would be seriously horrific.
We are just shuffling up ready for game 2.
And look at him. Ed has a massive smile on his face. He's really enjoying himself.
Aren't they?
God, that game was so close.
It really was.
And it was down to that. Is it Charm?
Yeah.
Being an absolute superstar.
Is it Charm? Modern.
Superstar at the moment.
The smiley face.
He was indeed mised out by the one main deck spell pierce. Mised him out of that game.
Yeah.
Uh, I wouldn't be surprised if Charles brought in Blood Moon for this one.
Really?
Well, think about it. You lock him just
Lock
down
him
to
just to
red,
red. Yeah,
just
I
to
can
red.
see
I
you
could
there.
see him doing it. I don't think that's what it's not there. Obviously, there for him.
Yeah, it's not there.
It isn't. I mean, maybe possibly Museum Skin. Um, I don't really think so.
Like I said, really, it's
I
just
think his
spell
deck is
skites.
tuned enough.
Spell skites just to sort of draw away some of the burn spells. And other than that, he can just sort of sit there with the deck he's currently got. Because, like I said, Prismatic Burn doesn't have a lot of answers for Splinter Twin. As we've already seen, most of his damage spells are direct to player, so he can't really harm too much the uh, the Splinter Twin, the fairies or the Exarchs. So just for those who are joining in at this point, my name is the Bear. My host is Ollie. We are on round 3 of the Fanboy 3 Modern PTQ.
Coming live from Thistle Hotel in Manchester.
And we are having Charles Norman with Splinter Twin versus Ed Miles, who has just dropped a Goblin Guide turn 1, revealing a
He is playing
Spellskite.
Prismatic Burn. Have any questions about the decks, please feel free. But for clarification, we're not professional commentators.
No.
We're just we basically really like Modern and wanted to come and talk about it for many, and we'll be here for many hours to come.
Yes.
We'll be here right up to the death of the final, which will be held at Fanboy 3 later on. That's
Certainly
where
will.
the top 8 will be played. So we're going late on into the night for that.
Guys coming through again for another Spellskite.
Wow.
There's a whole lot of
He will
Spellskites
have
coming down.
2 Spellskites coming up.
And I can see them being played in successive turns, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it looks like Ed is on 1 land.
Vexing Devil. He's taking the 4.
He's
Vexing
taking a
Devil
4,
goes
it's
away.
gone.
And we are still, unless he plays a
Oh,
1,
no,
there
there
we
it
go.
is.
So
Potentially.
he's got the second land in.
Oh, it's a double
Vexing
double
Devil.
Vexing Devil.
Well, what do you do here?
If you go to 8, like you're in real trouble.
He is going to 8.
He is. It must be off the back of those spell skates. I mean, if you know you've definitely got one. You've got 2 in
You've
fact.
got 2 now. You've definitely got the 2, and sure enough, Spellskite comes down.
This needs I mean, if Ed has a brutal follow-up here, this could be like lights out very quickly.
Yes,
just for clarification, the players have complete control over their own life totals via a pad. I'm not sure if Ed did mulligan, or that would explain it. He does run through his cards very quickly. He was on the play as well. That is a lightning bolt extended out. It's a beautiful card.
That is a lovely card, isn't it?
And Charles is just deciding on whether
Whether
before
he's to
combat,
take 2 or 3.
is he going to take 3 or take 2 with the Spellskite and then lose it in combat potentially? He is dropping to 5.
Well,
This is pretty harsh. If the Goblin Guide comes in, I'd put him on maybe having Searing Blaze. He doesn't.
passes.
I don't like that. I would
I
have
think he
liked
needed
to
sort of
see
hit
him
through.
get in. There's a sleight of hand, I believe. A starter set, sleight of hand.
White border. Can't be doing with this white border.
It was a particularly spicy red starting hand.
Spicy meatball.
I mean, 2 Vexing Devils is pretty horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, he has done exactly the right thing, which is suck up that damage, rely on the Steel Spellskites to get him out of it. He might be hunting for land here. He still has a lot of cards in his hand. He missed on his third land drop.
Oh.
I mean, if Ed has any follow-up, like this, we're going to a game 3. Like, and I'd like to see Ed mull and keep a decent hand and get there, because he had a bit of misfortune.
We've got the white mana now, so we've got potential Boris Charms coming through.
We could be looking at I mean, if he has Boris Charm,
that's going to get played pretty.
We could see Boris Charm bump in the night, and that's it.
Yeah, very easily.
I wouldn't have been entirely surprised if he has bump in the night and he didn't play it simply because he was trying to fool him.
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen a lot of subterfuge already in these games. A lot that was very well
There's a lot of strategy.
scoped.
You don't want to sort of go all out guns blazing in some cases because you want to
Yeah,
obviously
I mean,
keep stuff back in
I
case.
think what Charles is thinking is maybe what Ed's thinking is maybe he has maybe he has more than one spell pierce. Remember, they don't have each other's deck lists, but we do, so they don't know
So the spell sky
necessarily what's in each other's hand.
spell sky is blocking the Goblin Guide here.
This could be Searing Blaze. It is Searing
Searing
Blaze.
Blaze.
3 to the spell sky
So the spell sky dies.
and 3 to Charles. And he's down to 2.
There's got to be some semblance of a burn
Come on,
spell here.
it's-
He's top
he's
decking again.
empty-handed.
He's
I
top
love
decking
it.
again. A
There's
lightning bolt
on
to the guide.
So
So we know Charles is getting 3 mana this turn.
the unfortunate thing is Charles does have a spell sky, and he did
Yes.
find his third land.
So he can play a spell sky, which is
The
going
only
to,
issue now
is if he draws something that's
if
direct to player. So if he draws a Boros Charm, that's
Boris
it.
Charm, bumping the 9.
He's got plenty of outs, Hazer.
What is it? What is it? It's a top
Torpor Orb. Oh, that's just going to make this infinitely more difficult
That's
for
a Thought
Charles.
Scanner response, milling nothing particular, though it's a Snapcaster and a Mountain. That could be quite a harsh play there. Torpor Orb, not a lot of, well, there's no way to combo off without it.
No,
Like with it on.
he has
I mean,
to deal with that.
Unless we
Torpor
see
Orb at
Echoing
some
Truth,
point.
it's Pestamite during the upkeep. Tapping the Blackleaf Cliffs. Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't. He forgot. There's no end to the
No.
battlefield triggers. It's a
Bumping the
night
knight off the top. It's going to game 3. Well,
Oh, well done,
I
Ed
can
Miles.
see Charles putting in some
That-
more artifact hate.
That Torpor Orb did make a difference
It did.
because he wouldn't have been able to bump in the night.
No.
Right, he played Pestamite into Torpor Orb.
Yes,
That is,
he really did play Pestamite into Torpor Orb.
I could see a reason if he feared Goblin Guide, but he had the spell sky. Why would you do that? Maybe he just forgot. I mean,
No, the spell
I
sky died.
initially
But he
figured
could have played. He
no,
had
but
the block, but
yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been answer. I know how you did it. It was just a misplay on his behalf. They do say the camera makes you do stupid things.
oh yeah, it
I mean,
happens.
I wouldn't be surprised if Charles brought in Echoing Truth if he hasn't already, because he needs to get that Torpor Orb. I think
he
his
does.
land stumble didn't help.
No, he got stuck on 2
mean-
mana.
This time he will be on the play,
Yep,
so he could conceivably win on turn 4.
very conceivable.
And it doesn't look like a lot of ways Ed can stop him, unless he gets the orb down. I mean, a turn 2 orb would be particularly good. But yeah, other than that, I'm not entirely confident. I like Ed's deck much better. I haven't seen
Yeah.
a lot of Shamans. I wonder if the Shamans. I wonder if he took them out.
He might have took them out. I
You
think
see,
they're a bit-
against the spell scout, you're not going to get in for damage, but
No.
it is.
I don't think in this game
So
I don't think
the
it's that
problem is we
effective in this
know,
game.
like Charles has Izzet Charm to deal with them. It does have Lightning Bolt and Grim Lavamancer. Grim Lavamancer stacks up particularly well against the Shaman, since most of the time you can get it straight off the board and have done.
I think the shame in this matchup is a bit too slow.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what went out.
Yeah,
It's a very interesting play having Torpor Orb with Vexing Devil, because if you get the Vexing Devil down, there's no end to the battlefield triggers.
yeah, it's a 1
So
cost
you
4/3.
so you get a 4/3 for 1 mana. That's it. There is no end to the battlefield trigger on that.
It can certainly cause a problem for some people.
I did not read. I
That's
I
a
only
good
just
hit
thought
there.
of that. That is. I wonder if actually he realises that. He must do. He must have
do.
tested this enough to know that. But yeah, so just shuffling up for game 3 now.
So Charles is on the play.
Smiley face hand coming out. He's
There's a little
currently
bit of a
no.
smile this time.
There's a wobbly smile, probably because he's on the draw.
Yeah.
I'd probably have a wobbly smile too if I was against Splinter Twin, and there's
Yeah.
no hiding now what either of them are playing.
No.
Like, no doubt. Is Misty Rainforest to lead off? And Ed goes with Scalding Tarn. He's going to
Scalding
crack it
Tarn.
straight away.
Into a steam vent. Oh,
No, he's just going
into
for a
flame
mountain.
Thins his deck out, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose he wants something like
You
quite
want like
stable.
a Vexing Devil, a Goblin Guide, possibly.
I mean, he doesn't know if his opponent's playing like any answer to like
So they've
to
both gone
land,
for
for example.
So they've both gone for their basic land counterparts.
Mm-hmm. There's
And
a
a
Vexing Devil. I like how he's just
It
put
never
it
even hit
straight
the
in the
field, did
bin.
it? Never hit the field.
There might have been a bit of
If-
discussion going on there about what you following up with, but
Yeah.
as we've seen reliably from Charles up to this point, he is more than happy to take that damage.
He will
It
tank
ended
the
up
Vexing
costing him
Devil.
last game. That 8 damage he took from 2 Vexing Devils was a lot. That's a Grim Lava Mancer and a Sulphur Falls to the bin off a Thought Scour. He draws.
So he's playing
It's a Steam Vent's
Steam Vent's
tapped.
tapped.
It's quite a slow start. There's, unlike normal, no spell skite. He obviously didn't have it.
So Ed hasn't played it. Oh, no, he's got it. Clifftop Retreat. So he's got his white mana in. Torpor Orb.
Torpor Orb on turn 2. No spell pierce for that. That is milling
hand
a,
and
a now
Pestamite.
useless Pestamite.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Maybe he has the Echoing Truth in. You've got to think he.
You've got to think. Especially after seeing
He
it
did
in
go
game
back
two.
to his sideboard between games, I
Passing
believe.
the turn for this one.
Just for clarity, the red deck, in case there's a bit of glare, that is a mountain, a clifftop retreat, and a scalding tarn.
Splinter,
That's a
Pestamite.
Pestamite with no trigger.
I'm guessing he's going for the aggro approach with it then.
I don't entirely disagree. The kilted wizard Stephen Murray.
So we've got a split
Well, we
front.
do have our judge on the table picking the matches that we want to get under camera out with the people eligible, like basically eligible for a feature match. So we do have a certain amount of control over what we can see, like we will see match-wise. So that's. Is that a mill?
Must have been.
No, it was a skull crack and a lightning bolt straight to the head.
Oof.
Skull crack and a lightning bolt.
Sleight of hand coming through. Go on,
Yeah,
Nick.
just for clarity, we're not entirely sure if we do have any pros or not in the room. We're not particularly familiar with the local community. We have
Pestamite's coming
we have
through
actually
too.
travelled over from Metagames in Middlesbrough today
Yes.
for this.
So a reasonable situation for Charles Norman at this point.
Yeah, he's not. He's having to go beat down because he can't combo, and that is a blood crypt come down. That's a bump in the night.
Bumping the night down to 6.
This could.
He's still got enough mana to do it, but
I mean,
he's passing the turn.
I think he's wary of counter magic. I would be too, especially since it.
Snapcaster coming in.
Snapcaster, no trigger.
No trigger.
He is going for.
He's
We
going
could
for
we,
all
we could
2-1
see
aggros.
we could
That's all.
see Splinter Twin win through aggressive play here. That's the only thing
he's
this
getting
deck
there,
is
though.
now
It's-
capable. It's put him to 10. If he has, say, it's a Grim Lava.
Mancer.
Could the burn deck get burnt out?
He's got to start drawing some burn spells, surely.
I mean, he could just
I
be
mean, he might
bricking.
be mana
He
flooding,
could
to be
just be
fair.
bricking on lands. He has
He's
another
down to
mountain.
5.
Now, but remember, if he gets to 6, he can flash back the bump in the night.
That is true.
That does turn that on. And the past few games we've seen, he's never gotten above like 3 or 4 mana.
So he is. He just,
So
and the
it's
Deceiver
a
Exarch.
Deceiver
We're
Exarch.
just flashing in
Honestly,
creatures here.
we are seeing beatdown
This is what,
Splinter time.
7
Splinter
on the
twin.
board. This
Yeah,
is.
this is like.
If he's got a lightning bolt in hand,
If
that's game.
we could see lethal out of Splinter
This
Twin.
is potentially lethal if he has a
The only
like a
danger I
lightning
can
bolt.
see from that is if Ed is. What if Ed's spooking him? What if he has the kill, but he's waiting for him to tap out?
It's very true. He
Because if he
could.
goes for it and he has the Izzet charm, that's a blowout. And he's more likely to have that in his single.
Yeah,
He has
so we've got-
two
we've got
spell
him down to
Izzet
5.
charms and one spell pierce.
He's not. I don't think he's bluffing this at this point.
Oh,
no!
Oh, that's the concession.
Oh,
Oh dear Lord.
unlucky. So Charles,
Splinter Twin
Charles
takes it.
aggroes through.
He does.
with
He
Splinter
gets
Twin.
aggressive with Splinter Twin to win through
Aggro
a
Splinter
Torpor Orb.
Twin through the Torpor Orb.
Wow, you're not going to see that every day. You are not.
That is.
Well, hats off to Charles Norman for dealing with that.
He got around that in
The-
such
I have to say, I don't particularly like that combo deck, but that was actually enjoyable to watch him do that.
It was nice to see him try and get around the Torpor Orb.
I think if Ed had a bit more directed, like if he'd had Lightning Helix, there's some questionable picks there.
Yeah.
Maybe if he had like, I don't know if he did bring in Smash the Smithereens for Spell Skates. Never saw them. But yeah, there you see it, folks. Charles Norman with Splinter Twin takes down Ed Miles, Prismatic Burn, and Charles advances to 3.